All right, if you guys are just tuning in, it's the Press Pause Radio Games Club, and we're going home.
Using a controller, amateur.
I did use a controller.
Can you not use a controller? Because I actually don't even remember if you could or could not.
You can, but holy shit, do you just turn? It's the same problem I have with doing first-person shooters with the mouse. There's like just wicked fast turning. Yeah. I really like the fact that it's very open too with a controller.
Yeah. Well, most good PC games will be. They'll just automatically understand that most people have a controller hooked up, and just by default.
You can go between them at will too. So
yeah. Which because there's a lot of games you have to go into the settings and configure that, and that's just such a fucking hassle.
Yeah, and like the people behind Fulbright made it real easy right away, and you can do it at any point in the middle of the game, as Sarah mentioned.
yes.
But yeah, this companion video is basically we're going from start to finish through the entire experience. It is Gone Home, and a lot of the points that like I really want to talk about within the podcast and everything, I feel like get the benefit of the illustration that we're able to offer in this sweet video. And of course, yours truly, Andrew and Sarah, will be joining us as they also took place in this sweet games club.
Good old Christmas duck.
Yeah, good old Christmas duck.
Yeah, so there's a lot of Easter eggs, and that's the one, just to point out, is a fucking lie. Apparently there's supposed to be a nest in the attic that opens up an Easter egg if you put the Christmas duck in it. There's no nest. It's a lie.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
There's another Easter egg, though, that you guys will be able to be treated to.
So much has changed.
I'm just wondering how they have that much money in '95 to buy just boxes and ship stuff. Like the dude's kind of a not great author, and the mom's like a forest ranger or something. Apparently, Forest Rangers made mad money.
That government paycheck, though, right?
Yeah, I guess they made mad money back in the '90s. I didn't know.
Well, not only that, but they were able to put their oldest daughter through college overseas.
Yeah, and she just go just backpacking through Europe, just whenevs.
Yeah, but they inherited the house, though, right?
Well, they inherited the house.
Yeah.
So I think the big thing is even though he's a not so great author, Terrence Greenbrier did make quite a bit of spondily on the very first book that it released.
Yeah, like made a little bit on the one book and then tried to follow up and didn't really catch that critical acclaim, and then reviewed stereos, I think, or
he reviewed electronic equipment, and that's
FM AM clock radios.
Yeah,
or something.
So at this point, this is where the game really kicks off, because there's always this sense of omission, like there's an ominous presence in the fact that there's no one here, that you just showed up, and of course, one of the first things you go for is the answering machine. You don't even recognize the voice in the answering machine at first, but then just hearing this,
where are you?
Yeah. I mean, it's your sister.
Yep.
It's sister's name being cried out. But it's this sobbing girl. So I don't know. It was really creepy when you first pop in.
Oh my god, yeah! Like this game, like you first walk into the door, every single room I went into, I turn on every single light. I don't care, like a lamp, a light in the room. If I have a flashlight, it would have been on the entire time. Like it just makes you think, wow, this is going to be a scary first-person game. Like just right off the bat, it just makes it seem eerie as all hell.
And
I use the lights mostly for navigation. I'm like, well, where have I been?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Like where lights are on, you've been. Where lights are off, you haven't been. Actually,
yeah.
I probably should have done that. That would have actually made it a lot easier because I did a lot of backtracking in this.
Oh yeah, no, I was, and I love the Easter eggs in the game too. Like you're just as bad as your sister, always leaving the lights on.
Yes.
Holy shit, dude! I left every single light on. Like all doors were open. I didn't shut anything. So there again. You sort of learn all of these things contextually as you hear Sam reading the journal. We've got, Oscar, the great uncle that left the house to Terry and the family, and then you've got Lonnie's picture, which again,
but you don't even know who Lonnie is yet, really.
No, but there is, like I said, there are points that I especially want to highlight, because the beauty of this story is that, the sense of interaction and the themes that are going on, like. There's a huge theme of acceptance, basically through all three major facets. And then again, another part of the ominous like terror that kind of awaits you. I mean, you see the severe weather warning.
Somebody stole their DVD player. God damn it.
Yeah, you'll notice like
Yeah,
all
shit.
the electronics are missing.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so
Yeah, I totally wanted to play Super Spitfire.
yeah, so I'll actually touch on that because like they actually just released something recently about Super Spitfire, but I kind of want to touch on this. So I feel like there's one aspect of the story that's always glossed over with Gone Home, and that's Terry's relationship with Oscar. And if you kind of read like his rough draft that he crumpled up with him and Jack Russell, his main character of the Accidental series that he's penned and noveled, all these drafts are really I don't know. There's a lot of pain involved with, you know, Jack's situation. A lot of I want to see like allusions, and you know, depending on how much you pay attention to everything, and you find there are two secret letters, and one really, really unsettling area within the game that kind of brings it together. This is one of the unsettling letters. So this is a letter from your uncle basically trying to catch up with you after you and Janice got married as Terry. And he makes some allusions to, you know, it's been a while since that time, and, you know, it's been like around 10 years and whatnot. There's
I
a
never
lot.
found this letter.
Yes, it's under the cupboard drawer panel.
Yeah.
So basically what I'm getting at is Terrence was without a lot of graphic detail, just, you know, the detail there. There's a lot of hints that he was sexually abused by Oscar. And then at some point, Oscar really wanted to make amends, but everybody in the family found out about it. They ostracized him and exiled from the family, so that's why he became an estranged uncle. But he consistently tried to make it up to Terry, and you'll look in the will, left everything in his possession to Terry and no one else. And there's a lot of that, and a lot of it comes out.
I never got that, to be honest. I never.
No, I did. I never even found that letter. I always just thought that his uncle was just kind of creepy and crazy, and that was it. Like, I didn't really get that underlining, you know, reason why.
We'll get to it later to where I piece together this theory. But a lot of it too, like his cries for help, and I love this. Like everybody,
I didn't see that either.
Yeah,
holy crap!
All of the family members have porn and skeletons in the closet.
I had no idea. That's ridiculous.
There's more things that are in this that I haven't found. That's why it's strange to me. Like, you know, Aaron from Sunken Treasure Games, he really has a beef with this game. I think, you know, and we'll touch on that in the podcast. I really just want to focus on the content for the video. But yeah, there's something about 1963 that, you know, like I said, I really want to touch on. So you'll find the combination within the scathing, like pretty much the nastygram that he got from his reviews editor. Because basically it's kind of just implied that Terrence hit like a really bad writer's block. And he's currently picking up like freelance jobs for man, the tough life of a journalist, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
And yeah,
Hard knock life. And
pretty much he got shit for basically being too heavy-handed in his usage and just not keeping things simple enough because it's it's a dumb review for a dumb like electronic toy. So like, so yeah, essentially we'll get more to you know, Sam and Lonnie's story, but there's two other stories. Like I said, there's that going on, and basically there's, you know, Terry and Jan's marriage falling apart, and Jan's her infidelity. Now it's never really like proven. There's no concrete evidence that like something did go down like physically, but there was definitely an emotional affair of sorts.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ranger Rick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Home wrecker.
If you got didn't know if you guys picked up on that, but yeah. So I'm surprised you guys didn't pick up on you know, that letter or anything. What did you guys mostly do in the library?
I guess I never really thought about like clicking like items more than once. Like if I saw like a book, I picked it up, put it back. Like I never thought about grabbing like the book under the book. Like when you found that adult magazine, like you picked up a couple of the books and it was like the third one in. but I just never took the time to double check. And that's kind of a weird thing that you're really supposed to do in adventure games. If you want to really categorize this as an adventure game, is, you know, you always want to double check items to get the most out of the story. You know, it's never just look at one thing once and then be done with it. Like, you can go back, look at it a couple of times, and find other things. Like, I never even saw that fort. This little pillow fort here, never saw that.
And it's mentioned too. There's little things that are like all the environmental structures and how they get reference and context to the logs and diaries that you find. It's really amazing. And even those little things. So you notice that I checked like the TV guide ad. You'll notice that there's a lot of videotapes recording different episodes of X-Files. Yeah. Basically, it's implied at some point that Terry got so desperate that he looked to X-Files for inspiration for the new Jack Russell film. And that's explained later. I mean,
trying to get on that hype train, you know?
Yeah.
Like sci-fi,
because this is 95, man. It's 1995. Lots of shit. And, you know, god damn, like, if there's one thing that I love about this game more than anything, is that this really does feel like a world to me like no other game has, because everything's so deliberate. Like, absolutely everything. And I love this too. Everything's really real. Like, remember I told you we had the friend you use? The default friend? Like, the rich friend you had to use? You didn't even like the person. But, you know, they had something sweet. Something that, like, warranted, like, putting them in your life.
Yeah, hang out with them. Yeah. Like, they're the one that had the Dreamcast, and you really like playing virtual tennis, so you just went over there a whole bunch. Yeah. And now you didn't really like that person a whole lot.
I'm pretty sure I told you about my rich friend Todd, who we convinced to, like, fucking import a Nintendo 64.
I seem to recall this story.
Yeah. Yes. I was, yeah. I don't remember. Ben had a name for it.
That was hilarious right there, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes. Loved. Absolutely. And you know what's funny is that you find that exact same assignment from the same teacher that Caitlin did, and she straight did it, you know, line by line, did it by the book.
Yep.
She turned the whole thing into a creative work assignment where vagina warriors basically raided and escaped through the uterus and basically laid claim to the womb.
Same concept, just a little more descriptive is all.
But again, yeah, there's a lot of little...
Big, bold reds see me.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. And, you know, even before, like, the audio log just straight drops the bomb, you kind of find out, like, as far as the evolution of Sam's sexual identity and who she realizes it with, you kind of realize that through her character. I noticed it, Captain Allegra, she wrote about this character since the 2nd grade. That's why you found
she's always had this, like, pirate, like, fantasy, I guess, you know, like, just... I don't know, just like it kind of evolved as older as she get, and then she found, like, you know, someone to actually be a part of that story and how it kind of evolved from there.
I love that, like, the genesis of this fucking friendship all starts from Street Fighter 2.
Trying to learn how to throw a fireball.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Hadouken.
Isn't that how the best relationships usually work? Just a common interest? I don't know. It's... Like, it's so hard not to romanticize everything about this game. Like, that's really what it's about, and that's really what it kind of conveys. But I actually read a really good article on NPR. I don't want to sound too, you know, I'm not adjusting my glasses, I say that or anything, but
push
an article
them
on NPR.
As far as you can. Bridge your nose.
Well, they kind of made the point that, you know, the characters in this story, the ones that actually have the most, I mean, you never actually see them, you just always hear them, but, you know, they're 3 females. There's, you know, Caitlin, Sam, and Lonnie. And, you know, it's interesting that they are 3 women, but you never actually see them. They're never, like, shown unless you see, like, a picture. But they can still tell this narrative and tell this story. But really, it could have been the same game and the same experience with 3 guys. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be if it's a guy's story or a girl's story. I mean, the story is universal.
It's gender neutral.
Very much so. Like, they could have easily did 3 guys and it would have been the same thing. And I think you would have still had the same attachment, well, you know, which is good because not a lot of games can do that by putting a male or female lead into it.
A lot of it's built through feminine culture, though. I mean, like,
yeah, but they could have easily did the same with a male culture in that situation of finding themselves and, you know, going against what, you know, society and what, you know, people are telling them what's right and what's wrong.
Is it
you know?
Weird that I kind of want to argue that, though, just because of the perspective that you get from a, you know, from a girl?
Did you guys happen to see those?
Yeah, I saw them and I couldn't figure them out. I hate those.
I
things.
couldn't
All
get
right.
them. Did you? I couldn't get it.
The pink one is a big heart, and yeah, Super Spitfire. I want to play that.
So
And,
story about that as soon as you're finished.
The longer one is a shark.
Okay, so real quick about Spitfire, and I wanted to really highlight it. I love the detail to the Super NES games too.
Yeah.
That one disappeared.
Yeah, that one, it was so bad it just fucking absolved itself within the furniture.
Fine.
But and then Final Fantasy.
Journey of Crystal looks kind of
homage.
dope. I'd probably play that.
I'd play the shit out of that. At that point, I didn't want that one to disappear. So Spitfire, if you guys remember, you actually find out about Spitfire and everything, and it was prototyped during Minerva's Den in BioShock 2. And basically the creator, the people behind Fulbright used to be at 2K and help work on BioShock 2. So basically they came out and said, Gone Home takes place in the same universe that BioShock does. It's been confirmed, which I don't know. I found that really awesome. But I really want to go back to the, and then more of Captain Allegra. There's this first mate that she starts introducing, and the first mate is gender neutral for majority of these stories until you later, with the introduction of Lonnie,
starts drawing them out and stuff like that too.
Yeah, when she meets Lonnie, she basically models the first mate after Lonnie, and it materializes in their zine even. Lisa Frank binder.
Yeah.
Another thing too, really heavy religious overtones. You're gonna find Bibles everywhere in this house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, before we go to something else, can we go back? You said you kind of wanted to argue about it being not being gender specific.
Well, right. I really feel like it adds. I think Gone Home is better because it's about young women, in the fact that the sexual identity being discovered at some point with lesbians. And I don't want to sound like heavy-handed, or I don't want to. It's really hard to really express this, and this is, it's perfect to do it within the video, especially these little quips. But there are certain aspects of the lesbian culture that I feel like are have their own, I guess, taboos and their own situations, and not only that, I feel like especially when the parents find out, that it brings the struggle of the female gender into play, because at some point they're ruling it off. I mean, I think I really came to this realization when Sam is just like, they weren't even angry or disappointed in me. They just denied it and said I needed to find the right boy, and then I'm going through a phase.
Yeah.
The same thing could be said though if it was like a gay relationship with a man, two men.
I feel like.
Do you think? Do you think maybe just think the time frame that we're in? I mean, obviously, society is a little more understanding now, but in the 90s, I mean, I could imagine if it was two men, it would have been more of
you're
more
going
anger
camp,
and
right?
Yeah, more anger.
And there you guys go,
really
straight
upset.
camp, anger.
Yeah.
So they're accepting it in a sense that they think it's a thing, but they want to fix it. They're ruling off Sam's thing like it's a phase. You're dumb. You're just having dumb girl fun.
Dismissing it completely.
Yeah, pretty much every dumb girl has that's something. Have you noticed that's assumed of a young female, that every young female has at least kissed another girl? It's part of being a girl. And that's been established before, especially in younger culture within the 80s and 90s. I mean, all of us. That's not a part of growing. I love that fucking.
Stay safe. Stay safe, guys. Yeah.
But anyway, a lot of that isn't associated with with a dude discovering himself as he grows up. I don't think none of us had to kiss dudes at one point to truly find ourselves, especially romantically. But if and I don't want to use that heavy-handed assumption that almost every girl. I mean, a lot of girls haven't kissed other girls. When trying to discover themselves or have fun or party, but it is almost a common thing. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah,
you wouldn't be exactly. You wouldn't be surprised by it. So, for the fact that she had to deal with the oppression of her sexual identity being dismissed like that in a completely different way. I mean, you can't do that with a male protagonist. With a female protagonist, though, it kind of sells that emotional struggle all the more. I don't know. That's what I got. That letter I just picked up, by the way. It's more basically Jane has this best friend
From her head, hey girl.
hey girl, Carol, who she's basically slowly confiding in the fact that like
About what's going down.
in their
that
marriage.
that motherfucker. Good hands. Yeah, fuck that bookmark.
And I love
Take
that
that
it's
to your
Walt
shit.
Whitman too. Walt Whitman's Glade of Leaves, which it's so funny how that book shows up in some of my favorite media. But yeah, that book's got a lot of romantic undertones. So you know what I mean? Like a lot of these things that you find and you learn, they're just so beautifully implied. Like the construction within the story that happens in Gone Home. I think I love it so much because it's indirect. Because stories aren't like real life situations are completely indirect. That's how you build an organic atmosphere. I'm building all of this. And see, that's and I'll talk about it on the podcast. But that's and again, I kind of love too that like that's the one thing you made that point too that Caitlyn's like another character. I don't even look at her as a character. Like they try to make her a character, but she's mostly a cipher. And there's even things within the story like there are these postcards that you write and send as Katie. You notice more postcards that you find. It's less fanfare. Like the first one's like, oh, there's a postcard, and each subsequent postcard is undermined more and more because you're just trying to find out what the fuck happened, and it's almost implied like, dude, life went on while you were in Europe doing your own thing. Like your little sister was being oppressed, she fell in love, your family was falling apart, your dad made strides to try to overcome a horrible event from his past, which again I'm gonna love to illustrate for you guys because I'm really surprised you guys didn't pick up on that.
Because I never found that letter, so I never knew it was a thing. I just thought his uncle's kind of crazy, left the house, the end.
No, there's all reasons
Right there.
for it that's implied. Yes,
That part right there, I see that and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like even now, like even though like you're finding out this backstory and nothing's happened that's like remotely scary, I was still freaking out.
there's
Every
a
time I
lot
saw
of
something like that, or I saw like a locked door, I was like, well, what the fuck's behind that door?
all fives for the homewrecker.
God, man. She's just fucking throwing it at him.
Ranger Rick, 5 out of 5.
Damn it.
Definitely love like so. I don't know if you guys I don't know if you guys really picked up on it, but Heavens to Betsy, Bratmobile, Girl Scout, the Youngins, they're all actual bands within the Oregon area.
Yeah.
Loved that.
Sometimes you just have
And like
There is such a thing as being too indie, though.
I think it fits for this, though. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
a little
It
bit more of
fits,
it could have
but
been
I-
overkill, but yeah.
I wouldn't listen to it outside of the game. That's for sure.
Oh, it fits in my line of music. I kind of wanted to read more with this book, and I couldn't see fucking light.
Let me sit down and enjoy
So
this.
there's always stuff written in the spine that I can read in every cassette case, except that one. There's
Don't look
something
here.
right under. Don't look
Yeah,
under.
I see
here.
that. I see that. Don't look here, and then
And
For
there's
Sam.
something. I'm
That's
trying,
for Sam.
trying so hard.
There's 2 more songs on there. What you can do is you can look up, and then as it hangs down, you can see it.
it said for Sam though. That's what I saw.
I saw that on the spine. So then, yeah, this is where shit gets weird. You're starting
Yeah.
to find hidden panels, and of course, like a big draw that happened from Lonnie and Samantha like really getting together was the house. I mean, that other than the Street Fighter and whatnot, like Lonnie wanted to come see the house, and there you go. Here's a girl that lives in it. And I love that she was Captain Allegra for Halloween. Also, are there sewing machines in real life that fucking pop out like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah.
That scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. My Meemaw had one.
Yeah, we had those in home ec too.
Yeah, the only band that I knew of was Bratmobile, because like the way I saw, and it made sense for like this is set in '95. All the music came out in the '95 area, and they're in Arbor Hill, Oregon, which is implied is around the Portland area. So it made sense, and it all tied in, to the whole punk, which I related to a lot of that. I was that fucking dumb kid that had Get Up Kids buttons. I was that kid who's just like, yeah, the Midwest, Promise Ring, get up, kids, yeah. I was that fucking kid.
Oof, this is
Yes.
creepy.
This also has a lot to do with the uncle. You'll notice a lot of the catalogs and all the clothing and whatnot. A lot of them are children's clothing.
Oh.
Yeah, if I didn't really hang out there a lot because it's really unsettling.
And there's also
not-
like crucifixes and stuff around
There's a
there.
crucifix that I'm about to find and pick up for you guys.
Yeah, right there.
Watch
Oh,
this.
yeah, look at that.
Oh, nope.
Yeah.
No. Run.
Yeah, and there's a lot of moments like that with Oscar's belongings. It's really strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of little artifacts that again really harken back to Terry and Oscar's relationship. So and again,
those panels are so crazy that you start finding this stuff and I'm like, what is going on? Like the game kind of switches from like scary to like almost like a mystery. Like it kind of takes on like different genres almost as you play through it. And it's not even really supposed to be doing that. It just in my mind it just switched it up so much.
but I think what I really enjoy and like having this video really showcases it, because again, case in point, I'm really glad I was able to find something that you guys didn't know about and that we can talk about on the podcast. This game rewards you based on how much you physically invest into it. That's why, like, when people tell me that, like, it's one of the worst games to replay, I feel like, you know, unless they had a guide which would ruin the experience, I tell them they're stupid. Because there's absolutely no way you can find, like, I have played through this game, I can confidently say over 10 times now, just for the introspection of it. And the fact that a game like this offers introspection, and it doesn't involve the ability for me to jump on somebody's skull and crush it, or, like, fucking do things to destroy them, like, it means a lot. Like, the fact that, like, I learn new things every day here. So at that point, when, you know, you're pointed out to the panels, you're able to get the combination to the locker. And this is the big moment. We kind of glossed over it, but at the Halloween show, Sam spent the night with Lonnie at a friend's house, and they held each other all night. And everything was really fucking weird with her, apparently. Also, girl porn.
Gosh, Sam.
Yeah, exactly. Girl porn in the locker. There's a lot of porn in this game. There's one more magazine of porn that I skipped, but it's implied that it's Janice's. And again, I like the duality behind that, because as I alluded earlier, a lot of Bibles. And
a lot of porn.
A lot of porn, exactly.
Everyone's sexual, but everyone's ashamed of it.
Shame is a huge theme in this game.
Yeah.
Shame and abuse in everyone's story. It's just that, you know, really one just had a happy ending. The other one did too.
Yeah, I was terrified of going down in the basement. Were you guys?
I was at that point, but like when you're hearing Sam's audio log and her giggling and the fact that, like, oh my god, they like them moving that step and just seeing these notes, oh, it just made it was like that push. Like, I need to find out more about this. It was
you need well, and like you when you first saw the attic and you see the red lights and you're wondering why no one's here anymore, like you kind of assume the worst. And it's like you're going through these scenarios and seeing how it led to this inevitable, you know, what you assume has happened. And it just kind of creeps you out, you know, but like you still have to know, like it's almost like a train wreck. Like you kind of know what's going to happen at the end, but you still have to find out. Like that's the way I felt the whole time. Like I assumed the worst from the beginning, and just, you know, like I was like, well, gotta see what's going on, you know, like gotta do it regardless. I don't want to necessarily, but you have to.
Yeah, at this point now they're exchanging I love yous. Like that after that second note, I needed to go on. I also, by the way, I didn't know that a check plus was the best grade you can get. I figured it would be an A. But yeah, so here's where shit turns around. And I'm going to pick up something that goes back to the Terry and Oscar situation. So Sam's been accepted to the scholarship program, which you see was alluded to back in her room with the brochure. This is a portrait of Terry's dad, Richard. There's a lot of animosity, both between Oscar and Richard because of the event, and a little bit with Terry. So here's a note that basically, that Richard wrote reviewing his book, and the paragraph basically says, it's a lot of trite, cliche stuff, and honestly, you can do better. But I'm proud of the fact that you were able to work out through some personal struggles through your book. So I need you guys to really, and also did not know this, but Jan's Canadian. There you go, Sarah.
I didn't notice that. I put that back pretty quick. I was like, oh, citizenship. Nice.
Yeah, she's Canadian. They met at an Earth, Wind, Fire concert, which you see a lot of concert tickets, ones that didn't involve Terry. So here's where I'm getting back to that. And again, I'm going to go and put on some rock music to kind of tune out the uncomfort that we're about to experience. So you guys know the plot behind like Terry's books, the Accidental series, right?
Yeah.
Jack Russell is basically trying to go back to the year 1963 to stop the JFK assassination, which you see that like Terry grasps onto. There's a lot of allusions to 1963. Even in the second book, he goes back, which is probably why it didn't do so hot. But yeah, there's basically the theme is he's trying to stop a great tragedy from happening that he knows is going to happen. He's given an opportunity to do it. So over here in the basement, you're going to see basically here's a floor plan. If you look to the right here, it's Terry's height.
Oh, crap.
And look at age 12 and the year. Now, it mentioned that he was incredibly uncomfortable and he hates Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving 1963. Here in the room, the light won't turn on, and you see a scrap. I went in here, and it's really hard, and I didn't want to bother doing the modifications. In that room that's dark as shit, there's a pile of wood and a rocking horse. So
I've never even seen this room. I've never even been in here.
This part either.
Yeah, so... And then there's a safe back there. It wasn't
especially evident that it was there.
No, again, a lot of discovery. But there's a rocking horse and there's scratch marks on the wall.
Jesus. Do you get into the safe?
Yes. So the combination of the safe is 1963.
See, I thought
1963
was going to be for the thing upstairs, but I guess not.
No, that's because that's Terry's cabinet. This is Oscar's safe. It's a letter that was returned back to him by his sister. Basically, this is him asking for apologies, and basically, like trying to get the family to understand that he knows he made a mistake.
Yeah.
And that, he's pretty sure he thinks he's gay, but completely ignoring the fact that, he acted out his desire on his fucking nephew. So yeah, there's that. There's one more piece in that letter. It mentioned that, he's trying to remove all temptations. In the previous book that I didn't skip, it talks about how he opened up a soda fountain in the pharmacy that he owns. Also, in that safe, too, I also skipped over it, were all of his drugs. You'll see a syringe. I don't know if you noticed the syringe and the alcohol in there, but that's why he went psychotic. He became this hermit, completely separated himself, died alone in his house, and went insane and abused drugs. And there's the ledger that you can open up as well in regards to the pharmacy, that red book. But anyway, yeah, he opened up a soda fountain to attract children, and then later there's going to be a newspaper clipping that takes place after Thanksgiving in 1963 and around that time that letter was sent, where he shuts down the pharmacy. He basically sells it.
Yeah.
And it's right here. And yeah, and there you go.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I never even put any of that together.
At this point, to get back with Sam, Sam and Lonnie are just getting into some shit.
Anything uplifting at all, please?
So pretty much, the parents, Terry and Jan kind of know what's going on between them, but kind of don't. Also, love all the hidden panel shortcuts. I immediately, I just had to do this, and then when I realized that it was Katie's room, Also, a big thing, also really highlighting how much of a cipher Katie is. Here's her bullshit, nothing done with room
Yeah.
that they promise they do. Also, there's the combination to the safe.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But I
never
figured it
even saw
out.
that.
I figured it out because of the height marking with Terry.
Mhm.
Because that's the year JFK died, and Thanksgiving. Like I kind of put everything together. And yeah, here's a secret little compartment that Lonnie and Sam find, and they hung out.
Mhm.
And pretty much this is where they put together the zine. And you know, I don't know. You feel really uneasy still at this point because you don't really know what's going on with your sister, but like hearing these logs and learning the fact that like she sounds happier than she's been in a long time. And there was almost this like, I don't know if you guys got this vibe. I wouldn't say animosity, but like contention between the two. Because is it just me, or is it kind of implied that Caitlyn's like the favorite up until she leaves?
I honestly sounded to me like she was the favorite even after she left. You know?
It kind of felt to me as if they didn't know she left.
Yeah.
Oh, for Caitlyn? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
No, not Caitlyn. Sam. I
Yeah.
don't know that Sam's gone.
well,
at
no,
all.
they don't. You'll find that out. You guys know where the parents are at right now, right?
Yeah,
They're
couples retreat,
some kind
something
of
like that,
couples retreat or like therapy or something.
They're at a couples retreat to try to salvage their marriage, but yeah, they don't know that Sam's gone. You come home first because
Yeah.
they're on the couples retreat till the 7th. Sam literally left with Lonnie this morning. That's why, like, you remember the answering machine with Lonnie?
Oh yeah.
With Lonnie's messages, yeah. So this shit is just fresh, and it's weird to me. It's almost like when you invest yourself in the story. I wonder if as Caitlyn, if you put herself in her shoes, like, fuck, what if I just came a couple hours earlier?
Did I say wax?
Yes. Jan's getting pretty. That's a receipt
Yeah.
for the beauty products.
God damn
so-
it, Rick. God
Yeah.
damn it.
And there's a journal entry that I skipped over here where they kind of, talk about Caitlyn a little bit and about how she was able to bring boys. I skipped it just because there's this point about Lonnie. They never really touch on Lonnie a whole lot, but when they do, it's interesting. She has like virtually no relationship with her parents, especially her mom, who's this hardcore religious nut. More Ranger Rick shit.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
under that folder tab is another journal entry. I just skipped it though, just for time constraints. And there's the Earth, Wind, and Fire ticket stub. You'll notice how many for adults, and you'll notice the date. If you go back to one of Jan's letters, she's talked about going out with some friends to something. That was the ticket, and that's her that's where she I think that's the dirty thing. Like at this point, she's my least favorite character in this game. Like, I understand that your husband took on a house from a really uncomfortable situation that, like, he has demons that I'm sure he didn't tell you about, but he has to challenge, and he did it for the betterment of the family. And you're feeling detached because your fucking job is, like, over an hour away from the house, and your husband's struggling with writing because of all these demons he's battling. I don't know. It's a really cunty thing to do. I don't like Janice at all.
I don't like Rick.
Yeah. Well, I don't
Handsome,
like Rick either.
handsome, rugged Rick. Fuck that guy.
So here, and this is the moment that I'm talking about, you guys, where like I feel like they really couldn't have done this with a male protagonist. I'm really glad that this was done in the context of Sam being a 17-year-old struggling, like a teenage girl, not a teenage boy.
Mm-hmm.
In this, and like just the context is, even when she writes to Caitlyn through these journal entries, like when you
No butts in heaven.
the fact that she's like, I've known since like She-Ra, like just these cultural overtones, like mentioning She-Ra. She-Ra is supposed to be this powerful woman who's enstronged and whatnot. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like you can make these allusions and these connections because she's a woman. Like, all the 90s, like, romanticization and like, nostalgia can appeal to all of us, but I feel like they have a different... I don't know, they have a different connection to the female gender. I don't know. That could be just me, but that's the way I interjected it, and it just made me I don't know. It was also really refreshing. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's nice for sure. I mean, I just think that the writing in this is so well done that you don't have to necessarily rely on it being female protagonists. Like
Right.
that, they could have easily did this with males, and it would have been fine. It's just it's more of a compliment to the writing. But no, I mean, the story is perfect for the characters that are involved, and it makes it a little, I wouldn't say different, but it definitely is. You know, obviously I am a guy, so to kind of see this through the eyes of a female and go through the story of a female, like it is nice, you know, and it's not sexualized, it's not, you know, anything that like we've seen in most games, and that's good, you know, and it's nice. I think that, you know, for me, it's interesting to see that, you know, see that portrayed, you know, because I can only assume so much, but I think this actually puts it in pretty good perspective.
So I stopped on this. I don't know if you guys remember the parents' room when I found that business card that said Cads.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is the publisher that's giving Terry a second chance because they're really big fans of the Accidental series.
Mhm.
They initially that letter is they approached him wanting to know if they can republish and rebrand the Accidental, like basically re-release it with a different cover and everything, and ask if he can do that. So this is where you learn that they'll be gone from the 3rd to the 7th. So 2 more days. And that's the one thing. Everybody feels like this relationship, this romance is short-lived. These girls at this point have been together for over a year. Like this all started in 94. So we're it's almost a year in because they met each other in July. So it's 11 months. And again, just like all the illusions of the dates and everything, I wanted to see if you can open the garage. So I always forget if that was something you could do, if it broke or if there was something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, there's a special thing that has to do with the garage. It houses the most ridiculous Easter egg ever. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was explaining that to me. I'm going to have to go back and play it now so I can get it.
Yeah, you guys are going to get a treat to that at the end of this video when it comes out. You're going to love it.
Mm-hmm. The wedding invitation for Richard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck Richard. It's a home wrecker. 2-time home wrecker.
Yeah, but hopefully he dies in a forest fire.
Oh God.
Ooh, poetic
Burn.
justice.
Burn, literal burn.
Burn.
You guys better get the burn unit involved. Poor Daniel. He spent this entire game just trying to get Street Fighter 2 back.
I know. Like, come on, just please give me my game back. I don't really care about you anymore. Just please.
Yeah, there's these I love all the tags. Like Daniel called again. He wants his Nintendo tape back. Oh, even the verbiage. Always playing those silly Nintendo tapes. It's something with street fighting. It's so violent. I don't know. So this moment, I don't know about you guys. It doesn't have the same effect on me now that I've played it so much. And again, way less fanfare for these postcards. But I super cried. This was a journal entry that pushed me to tears. It's where their realization that what they have is like there's a time limit on it now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys like that whole summer love, that summer of youth thing. I had that. It's so bittersweet. It really is. Like I had that summer girlfriend before. I still have a blanket that this summer girlfriend made me that I'll never forget. Oh, she's dumb now. Like she was dumb like into the next year, but I remember how cool she was during the summer. It's like you kind of freeze frame those 3 months into like cherished memories. And it's always bittersweet when it involves one of these finite romances.
I just wanted to make you happy.
So
and you read these letters and you see how like it's not really a choice of their own. Like they make these choices because they think that's the thing they're supposed to, and then they realize, well, this is gonna separate us. I have to go in the army because that's what I thought I wanted to do. Now I'm not so sure. Same with Sam. Like I wanted that scholarship.
Yeah.
I wanted to do this. Was it writing? I thought it was like a scholarship for writing.
Yeah, creative writing.
Yeah, it's like, but then you find that there's things more important than what you want.
So here's a happy ending for Terry. You'll see notes here, and basically they are willing to publish the new Accidental book. So he has a manuscript actually put right here, and I love the tagline. It's like coming to this house was a way to challenge his demons, and at some point he really overcame them. and that last line will be yourself.
Saves his
It's
own
no
life,
longer
yeah.
focusing on going, trying to do something for JFK,
Right.
or trying to, do fucking drawer. Anyway, the accidental human, and I like this. It's no more of this like 24 ass time travel Jack Bauer shit. It's like it's a book about self discovery, which Terry did through writing, and I
And
I
then
really like
you
that.
see where they're going. Yeah.
Yep, strong pines. Then we got this empty ass drawer. Man, I will say I really like you really fuck this house up by the time you're done with it.
Leaving all the lights on, killing the electric bill.
Yeah. But the wiring's all good, according to the
Yeah.
paperwork you found it. So like, you can only imagine it, you can do it. All the messages too, the ghostly the ghostly happenings with Oscar. There's another one other than the crucifix. Like the shit happened like on the Ouija board and whatnot. This next
Yeah.
upcoming moment is still really unsettling, even though it was done like innocently, only from the context that I talked to you guys about it involving Terry.
She said she knew it was hard.
I forgot.
Also, like throughout the game, like you're hearing all these like creaks and groans,
Yeah.
and scratches
Oh, yeah.
and stuff like that, and you're like, "What the hell was that?"
That's when she cried too.
Yeah, and you'll notice that skull right there from the closet where like Lonnie went to Mexico and brought
Yeah.
back a souvenir. Just all these things coming back together. Really dig it.
And I was finally alone.
You got to give credit, man, to the voice actor who did Sam, because like,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
oh my god, because like this
Yeah.
last journal entry, you know when you sob so hard that you can hear that exhaustion in someone's voice, like that was conveyed right, especially at the beginning of this entry. Like,
The sun
The
set
food
in this
pyramid.
house. Is the sound
yeah, I don't know why that was there. It's one of those random like, why is this here?
See, you're
cereal.
doing you're doing like the same thing I'm doing. Like I knew when I was going up to the attic. Like I said, I assumed the worst. So as I go up there, like I'm going slow.
Yeah,
I don't want to necessarily see what I'm about to see. Like they've made these preparations, these plans to do it finally. It's all going to be done. And I'm assuming the worst. It's 95. They really like Cobain. I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
and
God,
Cobain's also reference a lot throughout the game.
Yeah,
There's a magazine.
and I'm like,
whatnot.
yeah, and you're like, I don't want to do this.
I really hope I don't come to the attic and find dead bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And like the attic even looks ominous with all the red lighting. But then when you come to this locket that's just shown throughout the story. And major credit to Chris Remo too, man. Like,
in my old spot.
geez, like,
Music's outstanding. Yeah.
yeah, and like, he found time to do this and still keep up with all the stuff at Double Fine. And look, I didn't even realize it, but they did buy that locket because you see an ad ripped out for it in the trunk in the basement, and then this picture when you see that they have it, I don't know, it felt,
And that she couldn't
it just felt even more.
being a part
And you see the bottles, and you think the bottles are the things that they use to do it.
Mm-hmm. No, it was
But-
just to develop the film.
Sam, I want
Yep.
to pack up
Yeah, I've used a lot of that stuff actually. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that stuff. The setter and the
It's just
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's like 4 different solutions that you use to develop film. So
us.
So
She asked me.
all this is going on, and like, I can like.
and I said, yeah.
I only I kind of wish there was an epilogue that gave you these decisions or these outcomes, but I feel like as ambiguous as it is, like what does Katie do from here? Like just the introspection alone, like you're the only one that's find this out. Like your family just literally fell apart within the scope of a week. You came home to this. Like
That I can't be there to see you in person.
it's just oh man.
That I can't tell you all this myself.
I really hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, but like
it was a super satisfying ending, though. It really was.
You'll understand why I had to do what I did.
it's honestly, I don't know. To me,
And you won't hate me.
I think when you work with just with less and less means more, especially with young love, I don't know. This is amazing. That someday, man. I don't know. I wait for it. I hope we all get the chance to see that someday again. And that's that's been
Payoff's
Games Club, you
outstanding, though.
guys.
Yeah, I mean the payoff's so outstanding. Like playing through that, experiencing it just to get that payoff at the end was so satisfying. Like it's really kind of makes you happy. It makes you really enjoy, just life, love, loss. I mean, you go through a lot of emotions. I don't want to come off sounding cheesy at all, but like being an emotional person to even begin with, like that game puts you through so many different kinds of emotions in the span of, we did this in less than an hour. It makes you feel so much. And then when you get to that end, you get to that final payoff, like you can't help but be happy about whatever's going on in your life or what you've had. Like it's all been a part of a journey that you've experienced. And, we got to see it through the eyes of a sister, seeing her other sister find love and find her life and find who she's supposed to be like that. It's pretty outstanding. Like I don't really think I have that kind of relationship with anyone, even my family. Maybe it comes down to that ultimately. Maybe it is about family. The family you create, the family you have, the family you try to forget. I mean, it is a love story, but I think in a lot of ways it is about your family as well. And I think you're right. I think a lot of times they do persevere. They do kind of, come back to what they're supposed to be. But that game, to do that in an hour is almost insane that's even possible.
And I completely agree. And again, you can do so much more, and there's so much more to elucidate. Again, there's a lot of moments that I really could have used, but for the scope of time, that really could have brought about like more of Janice's emotional fare and Terry's overcome of abuse and just how twisted fucking Oscar really was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like something that was just so organic and felt like an experience. Yeah, I'm really glad we got to experience this Games Club. And man, I'm really glad Sarah got to play it with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
For once, right?
Yeah, because Sarah, I mean, what did you think about the game ultimately? I mean, how'd you come out of it?
Well, the thing is that I'm a really nosy person, and I live a very boring, mundane life. And basically, other people's stories and other people's experiences are kind of my entertainment. I find a lot of value in the tales that people will tell. And so with that said, going through Gone Home, as it were, even just focusing mostly on Sam's story, it was, well, for lack of a better word, just interesting, with no real direction in the game, with just curiosity to go on. It was really, really well put together, and I just enjoyed listening to what they had to say.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool too to know now that we watched him play through this. Like there's a lot of things I didn't even realize were there. There's a lot of stories that were told that I didn't even pick up on.
Well,
exactly.
Kind of insane.
So
we'll talk
reason
about
to go
it.
back, right?
We'll talk about it on the podcast. But until then, secret journal entry time.
Booyah.
Do 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 Here I go. Oh damn. This is harder than it looks. Fuck. God damn it. This song isn't helping. All right. You can't do it from any other way. Gotta do it from here. It's so fucking door frame. All right. Oh, fucking. I got it. Yeah! All right, you guys. This is a ball. Time to go. Yeah. No. Yeah, wrong way. I'm gonna show you something cute. Almost there. It's gonna be adorable. You will love it. It's nice. Going up the stairs. All right. Here we go. All right. Harlem Globetrotter themed. Hasn't really helped me so far. So I don't know. Fucking too far. All right. This is the tricky part, you guys. It's really tricky. A little closer? Closer, maybe? Fucking. So you can tell what sport I'm awful at. You can get that ball. Get it? Get it? Oh, fucking. Shenanigans. Yeah! It's adorable.
Meow meow. Meow meow. Meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow meow. Meow meow meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow meow. Meow meow meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow.
Adorable!